much. It's really a foreign feeling to be in a room full of positivity and gratitude. So thank you for that. Seriously, when I was at Brandeis, they had this thing, they had a bachelor auction to raise money for breast cancer, and I participated in it, and nobody bid on me. To make that clear, girls would not date me to cure cancer. So next time you think you're having a bad night at Brandeis, or wondering how I had so much free time to do stuff for Chabad, that's why. I really always used to get, when I grew up, always rejected for things. Kids used to, people would complain if you got picked last with a team, not picked. Be like, that's all right, Ari, we'll play 5-on-4. I get rejected from things I haven't applied for. Girl will be like, oh, Ari, that's a beautiful shirt, let's just be friends. But I wanted to talk to you about, I think, like, parents are like, oh, you're going to speak, and I thought, what can I possibly say? Because when you graduate college and you go into the real world, you realize, like, oh my God, I don't know anything. And I'm talking to you, and you're in college, and you think you know everything. So honestly, what don't you know? So I thought I'd talk about what I'm really good at, which is how to be a failure. When I was a little kid, my mom took me to an art class, and above the door, the teacher hung a sign, and it said, "A mistake is a creation not yet realized." And I was very inspired. And my mom patted me on the head, and she said, "Have fun in art class, my little creation." I'm kidding, they tell me I was planned poorly. They say they debated having me, which means that for the last 26 years, one of them has turned to the other and gone, "See, I told you." But I really want to talk about that because Brandeis is going through a difficult time. I drove by Walton and I remember it said that big granite sign that said Brandeis University, and now it says "for sale." And people are afraid, they want bailouts, and they want help. And I thought, like, what advice can I give to people? And I thought, really, the thing in life that makes it worth living is when you're able to go from being a miserable failure to being a spectacular failure. And I think there's really no greater spectacular failure that I've met recently than Parrot's Bay and Fadi. Parrots talked a lot about the great achievements, and I'd like to review them for you. I was there at that first Shabbat. There were 15 of us. Everyone was yelling at each other. We all hated each other. We were all screaming. I felt like I was at home. But it wasn't much of a Shabbat dinner. And I thought, wow, this is a mess, which is what I was used to. But it wasn't what was intended. And Parrots got us all together. He pulled out a book and he read a line. It was very inspiring. And that was my first example of Parrots turning something, a good idea gone bad, back into something that was even more successful and more profound. He mentioned the sukkah. What man wouldn't be proud of having the largest sukkah? It's a Jewish crowd. What you don't know is that first year, Parrots was sitting alone, I think having breakfast or lunch, I don't know, it depends on the Chabad Zmanim. And the sukkah collapsed on him. He had hung fluorescent lights because they were cheaper and they just shattered all over the floor and all over Parrots. And as sukkah building goes, that's not a kosher sukkah when it's on the floor. That was another failure. I remember the first year of Eiler, I thought, there were very few people who came, and I thought, like, it's a good thing we didn't name it Wheeler. still single. But we're all here to spend our family's money. We're all here to thank two very important people. When I graduated Brandeis, I said that Peretz was the second most important person I'd met while in college. Because I was real smug and thought I had met myself. I knew who I was. And now I'm not so sure. Which is good. If you spend time with me, it's better not to know me that well. But really, Peretz and Connie were the most important people, and there are things to be grateful to them for. One is sort of that unconditional love. Just like you get from your parents, except in my case, it's just a legal binding. Common material. But it really was something they replayed the incident. It wasn't just Jews. You meet a lot of rabbis. You do if you grew up in Teaneck, New Jersey. It's full of them. They're like street signs. All pointing you in the wrong direction. But it was the first thing Chabad says, a Jew is a Jew, right? And in Hillel, a Jew is a Jew, but really they want the Jews to get together and make more Jews, right? But Chabad really has this unconditional love, and that's an amazing thing, and it was something that I saw for the first time and felt for the first time. And if you're an erotic Eastern European Jew and you have trouble loving yourself, at least Peretz and Connie were there to do that for me during college. And that was an amazing thing. And every now and then, when I need to pretend I like somebody, I think of Peretz and Connie and ask myself, what would they do? And I think that, I asked Peretz recently, I said, I've never really sat down and inquired as to your motivations. And Peretz said, I'll send you some bullet points. Very inspiring. We got to chatting. I was having a rough night, week, month, year, life. We got to chat. It was like 1:30 in the morning. Peretz sent me an email. I knew it was up. He had a good year. And he said something profound, which is you don't always know what you're doing. He doesn't always know what he's aiming for or what he's trying to accomplish. I feel the same way about this speech. Very late. But the thing is, you have sort of a goal. You have an end in mind, which is dessert. And Peretz sees these goals, and one of those is that unconditional love, which is something he accomplishes right away. Every now and then he throws you out of that. I'm the only one I think who's ever been thrown out of the Chabad as well. So thank you for that. Try to beat me. It's very difficult. I said some inappropriate things. They threatened me. They didn't really mean it. And I think that's an amazing thing. This goal, and one of it is this appreciation. It's that Peretz and Connie don't just love you in sort of hippie, I don't shave, so I'm Jerry Garcia of the Chabad movement.